Alright, we're going to talk about these new checklists that I've created. They're in dotloop under dotloop contact details, post MLS checklist, pre MLS checklist. Let's start with the pre MLS checklist. So essentially, the new system is going to be when you have a listing coming up, I want you to create a dotloop folder. To do this even a little bit better, the system's going to be you're going to send the information from the dotloop contact details checklist, and this is going to get sent to the virtual assistant, and I would like the virtual assistant to actually create the dotloop and input a lot of the details. So I'm trying to make it to where we are more focused as the realtors to actually handle the clients and do the showings and see them and smile them. I don't want us having frowny faces from doing so much administration. So bear with me, this is going to be a process, but either way, these 3 checklists are going to need to be filled out going forward before I sign off on a commission form, a disbursement authorization, and you're going to see why. Because following these checklists is going to put you in a position of seeing everything that needs to get done and having everything done, as opposed to scattering around doing stuff at the last minute. I mean, I got a listing live now and I didn't have the lockbox and the for sale sign up. But I had an open house, so luckily Chris covered for me. Anyway, let's go through the checklists. So hey, here's the contact details checklist. You're gonna input this into dotloop. It'll be where you can just type and fill things out, but essentially you're gonna click the transaction type. Is it a listing for sale? Is it a purchase? You're gonna select the loop status. Is it a pre-listing? Is it a pre-offer? Details. When you or the virtual assistant adds a person, you're going to first be prompted to enter the full name, first name and last name, enter in their email address, and then enter in their role. Are they a seller or are they a buyer? And then you're going to add in your other 2 roles. If it's a title company, if it's a seller, it'll be the lender if it's a buyer. So it kind of coordinates here. The address, the county, the tax ID number, the legal description. I would like you to have all of these in ahead of time, so when you or the virtual assistant creates the dotloop, it already has all this information pre whatever, and at that point, anytime you open up or add a new document, all of this information automatically gets put in there. So let's see what it looks like when we go to a dotloop. Alright, 1, 2, 3, practice street is what I'm working on. So you're going to see here soon what all this is. But essentially, if we had this filled out, the listing type, listing for sale or purchase. So let's say this is a listing for sale. And we checked pre-listing. So then we go here to pre-listing. Alright, now details, add person. View details. Now add person, add person. If it's first name, last name, add in their email, and then add in their role, buyer or seller. You got title, you got all the other people in here. Escrow agent title. Boom. So you add in those details. Address, county, tax ID, legal description. Enter an address here. Usually it'll auto-populate. Maybe not. Sometimes it does. If it doesn't auto-populate, start plugging in the street number, the street name, the city, the state, the zip code, county. You see county, you want to add in your county, your tax ID number, right here, tax ID number. This last part, legal description. This is all the way towards the bottom. Graphic description, legal description, add in that information, hit save. If you don't hit save, you don't have anything. Boom. So that's the contact details sheet for Dotloop. The idea is when you have a listing coming up and you have a listing presentation, you're going to fill this form out. You're going to send it to the virtual assistant, and then they're going to create a Dotloop. Because on the pre-MLS checklist, you're going to see all the steps that need to be taken by you or the virtual assistant. Alright, pre-MLS checklist. Create Dotloop folder. We got the Dotloop folder created. Label the folders pre-MLS Live and Sunbay Docs. Pre-MLS Live folder, Sunbay Docs folder. Add needed docs, your listing agreement, and your disclosures. Edit Dotloop details, add person, address, tax ID, legal description. We already did that in the previous step. The Sunbay Docs to add a DA form, which is kind of the commission form, the pre-list checklist, the new listing questionnaire, the seller expectations. So to add a document, when it comes to the Sunbay stuff, click templates and personal. You're going to see Dotloop, pre-MLS checklist, new listing questionnaire, commission form. Now for adding in the documents for the MLS, you're going to go to Florida Interactive Live. You'll find them in here. Click copy. It'll bring them in there. Alright, so now here's some steps here for the realtor. Install your lockbox. Really, you should bring your lockbox with you on the listing presentation so you can put it on there. Get the spare keys. Get the seller to clean and declutter their house. Hey, perhaps a pre-list 4-point inspection. I think it's a great idea for sellers to do it so they can fix any of the small plumbing, electrical, AC, roof, any of the issues that come up. They can fix it themselves as opposed to fixing it when the buyer requests, because when the buyer requests, they're going to request a certified, licensed. It's going to cost them more. The pre-list 4 points are usually like $200 or $300. Hey, schedule your photography, schedule your post install. Then you're going to add a new MLS listing. This is in the MLS. Add, edit, new listing. Input all of the details for the listing. Input your photos. Add your attachments. Do your listing write-up. And I'm going to talk and do a video about the listing write-up. I like to do it from the perspective of a buyer walking through the property. We'll have that in another video. Make the listing live. Bam. Once you make your listing live, email it to yourself, email it to the seller, ask them to read it, ask them to review the details to make sure things are accurate, see if they want any changes. So once your MLS is live, your next checklist you're going to be doing is the post MLS live checklist. Boom, email the seller, get their feedback for edits. Showing time. Add in the showing information, add in the owner's names, their phone numbers so they can get text to approve or disapprove the showings. So then go to Zillow and Realtor.com, view your listing, make notes and changes based on your observations. A lot of times when you look at what the buyers are looking at online, you know, it may not have turned out the way you thought. Maybe that first photo you put on there wasn't a great photo. Look through your photos, look through your descriptions, see what changes and edits you want to make. Bonus, hell, send it to me. I'll be glad to review it. Send it to another agent. People love giving feedback, i.e. they love telling you what they think. We all want to give you our opinions. This is a good time to ask for it. Hey, make a Facebook post. Announce that you have a new listing. Do a Facebook story. All you damn boomers, you don't know about Facebook stories, but it's time you learn. It's real easy. It's real quick. More people will probably see your story than your Facebook post. Hey, schedule your open houses. For your showing, set up text alerts so the sellers can approve. Even if it's a vacant property, have the text alerts go to your sellers so they can see when showings are happening. Add details in the showing time, like any codes. Is there a gate code to access to the community? Is there a code to access the lockbox? Is there any entry access details you want them to know? Is there an alarm you want them to know? Now that I think about it, I need to edit mine because on one of my listings, I have a coded lockbox, but the seller hasn't given us the keys yet, so we're using the garage door, and I think I have it showing probably right about now, so I probably need to add that in. But do you see why I did this? Right? I'm going through the process now, and it's fresh in my mind. So instead of me spinning my wheels wasting time and you spinning your wheels wasting time, we're going to create a system and make this stuff streamlined. Hey, after your showings, text your agent and ask them for a feedback. Be specific. Say, hey, thanks for showing 123 Main Street. What did your buyers think about the listing? Will they make an offer? Always ask if they're going to make an offer, right? And then the agent's going to come back and say, yeah, they love it. No, they don't like it. If they say no, they don't like it because X, Y, and Z needs to be fixed, rebuttal them kindly and say, well, if the seller was willing to make those fixes or lower the price or pay closing costs, would the buyer reconsider? So this is your first negotiation that's happening. You want to negotiate before you even daggone, have an offer, right? Sellers love when you're professionally pushy like this. This is what I call it. This is what you can tell your sellers you do. Hey, I'm a little professionally pushy. I'm going to push the sellers or the buyers to make an offer, or at least tell us what they liked or didn't like about the property. Send that seller your feedback. Hey, after a couple weeks, you want to get a $10,000 to $15,000 price drop if things aren't moving. And that concludes the period of instructions on these checklists.